Hello and welcome guys to a new episode on Sport Predictor Fanatic. Today we're gonna predict the second half of the third round of Wimbledon. Let's get straight into it. The first match we're gonna talk about is Comesana against Musetti. Musetti has shown like some vulnerabilities in the two first matchups he's had, but he of course still won both matchups. In the first round, he was up against qualifier Les Chen, if I'm right, and he was a set down, but then won the last three sets. In the second round, he was up against Darderi, which was a real matchup with like a five-setter, of course. Musetti is actually in a great form at the moment, though, having reached at least the semis in both grass tournaments he has actually played. I think one he is second and one he has reached the semis. Musetti has actually reached the third round once before of Wimbledon in 2023, but he lost that one against Hubert Hurkacz. And then his opponent, Comesana. It's definitely, like, undoubtedly a name nobody would have expected to see in the third round. He has never played a match on grass before this month, but now is actually in the third round of Wimbledon. Of course, he first upset Rublev, which was, of course, a big name to beat. And in the second round, he actually beat Walton. Against Walton, it was a four-setter. Against Rublev, I think it was a four-setter, if I'm correct. And I think this will actually be a really hard matchup to predict due to Comesana really not like being ever been at this big stage and still has won two matches, and due to Musetti being a little bit inconsistent sometimes, but I think with the consistency he has actually shown on grass, Musetti will get the W here. Then we have Mupeteschi Pericard against Russovori. Mupeteschi Pericard actually continues to rise as he keeps delivering impressive performances. He entered the draw as a lucky loser because he surprisingly actually lost in the final qualifying match against Janvier. In the first round, he surprisingly beat Korda with 51 aces and 0 service games lost. And that was in a five-setter. And in a five-setter, to not lose a service game is actually mental. In the second round, he was once again dominant, winning in straight sets and serving 27 aces against Nishioka, winning the match in 73 minutes. That's actually mental. 73 minutes for a 3-set match is crazy. This is only actually the second grass season he has ever played, and it's actually the first grass season he's played as being top 100. He's won 9 matches and lost 3 matches this grass season. Russovori, on the other hand, stunned Tsitsipas in the second round when he played some like amazing tennis in the 4 sets he has played. He actually played a really good tennis and had Tsitsipas being visibly like angry a bit. Russovori has this year struggled with injuries, with his fitness and those kind of things. And actually the win against Tsitsipas was the first back-to-back win he had on the main tour this year since February. So that's a long time. This will actually be his first time in the third round of a slam. And I think this match is really hard to predict, but I think as long as Mupeteschi Pericard serves well, he will win. So I'm guessing he's gonna win because he served really well this whole week. And then we have Taylor Fritz against Tabilo. Fritz has won the last match against Rineknecht. Rineknecht took one set of Fritz, but Fritz won the other 3. At Roland Garros in 2023, those two players also met. Fritz then also won 3-1. After the match, René Knecht has had some words to say about Fritz, and I think Fritz actually was extra motivated because of it. At least he played like he was extra motivated because of this. But Fritz grass season has been really good this season. He has 6 wins and only 1 loss. I think he's actually took a title somewhere. I don't know exactly where. Fritz has only gone 1 time into the second week at Wimbledon. In the 7 times he has tried, but he's now 1 win away. But he's up against Tabilo. Tabilo actually came close to reaching his first third round at a slam, being 2-0 up in the second round. But he then almost squandered it by letting Koboli back into the match, coming back to 2-2. But then he regained his composure and finished the match with a 3-2 win. Taylor Fritz also leads like the head-to-head against Tabilo with 2-0 and with 4-0 in sets. Yeah, I think this will be a very close match with two informed players. But I think due to Fritz, his experience, he will actually get the win. Win here today. Well, tomorrow. Well, today if you're seeing this. And then we have Norrie against Zverev. Zverev is actually known for making unnecessarily long matches in the first few rounds of a Grand Slam. This slam he's not done that, but I think that's also due to his favorable draw this time. He hasn't conceded more than 4 games in a match, which is really good. He beat Cabellos Baena and Giron. This is statistically the worst Grand Slam for Zverev, and I mean not this Grand Slam, but I mean Wimbledon in a whole. He's never reached the quarters here. Well, he's done that on the other Grand Slams and holds a record of 2 wins and 3 losses at the third round of Wimbledon. Norrie, on the other hand, has just lost his number 1 British status to Jack Draper, who he met in the second round. But in the second round, Norrie really seemed on a mission and played like a freaking awesome match. He won with some great tennis, only making a couple of own mistakes. So yeah, he's playing really well, at least the last match. But Norrie this year and a whole hasn't been in form. Yeah, he just hasn't been that in form, and he didn't really make an impact the whole year at this level. He also has like a 10-match losing streak against top 10 players, which Zverev of course is. And with Zverev leading their head-to-head also with 5-2, I think Zverev will win this. But I think Zverev will normally find this a bit of an easy win. No, that sounds hard, but you know what I mean. Like normally he would win against Norrie, but on grass, it is kind of a different story. But I still think Zverev will win, but it's gonna be close, I think. And then we have Arthur Fils against Safiullin. Safiullin was actually on a 5-match losing streak before Wimbledon, and didn't win back-to-back matches on the main tour since January, which is of course a really long time. But here at Wimbledon, he finally broke that, winning twice. In the first round, he actually fought back from 2 sets down against Cerundolo, and in the second match, in the second round, he beat Matcha in 4 sets. Last year, Safiullin actually reached the quarterfinals of Wimbledon, which was really unexpected and impressive at the same time. Arthur Fils has never won a match on a main draw on grass before 2024, but now he's only round one away from his best performance ever at the Slam, which is crazy. Fils actually won the first round against a struggling streaker who's normally a real challenge on grass. And then he was up against Hubert Hurkacz, who had to withdraw, although that withdrawal being at match point for Arthur Fils. But I saw a whole discussion about this. Let me just tell you my opinion about the discussion real quick. I think when Hubert Hurkacz went down, he was up in the set. He could have made it 2-2 in sets. Well, because it was a tiebreaker. If he had won one more point, he then lost that point, then lost the next point, and was having a match point against him. But the point before it, he literally couldn't walk to the ball. I think it's fair for him to withdraw, although it's match point and he could have just given service away. But I think it's fair to withdraw. Why risk making it worse when there's literally no need? And for Fils, it literally doesn't matter that it's a walkover. It doesn't matter that the other one gave up. He's still around further. Only the people that betted, I think, on Fils actually care. And for the rest, I think they don't care. But yeah, going further on that, where was I? Oh yeah, Fils actually leads their head-to-head with 2-0. With 4-0 in set. And I think with Fils being more consistent this year, I think he will get the win. Then we have Pouille against De Minaur. De Minaur actually reached the third round without dropping a set. In the second round, he e-spot clay quarter Jean Munard, but in the first round, he did have some struggles being against James Duckworth, his fellow countryman, I think that is. He was actually having some break points, well, maybe even set points against him with James Duckworth, but he still won, so there's no struggle there. Last year he actually only reached the second round of Wimbledon, so he's already doing better than that. But De Minaur is actually known as a really, really, really good cross player, and has shown this once again this year, winning the ATP title at Zetogenbosch. Pouille actually won the first round against Jerry in a grueling 5-setter, but luckily won the second round with an early ending. Well, luckily for him, of course. His opponent, Kokkinakis, had to retire at the third set while it was 1-1 in sets. And it was 5-2 in games for Pouille. I actually didn't watch the match. It was 5-2 for Pouille. I actually didn't watch the match, but I guess the 5-2 was also due to Kokkinakis being unfit at the moment. But yeah, Pouille actually isn't in his prime of his career. He's actually at the end of his career a little bit, I think. And he hasn't actually been in the third round for a long, long time. But this third round will actually see him back into the top 150 again. I think, though, with Minaur playing well on his beloved grass, he will actually get the W. Then we have Holger Rune against Hayleys. Rune actually entered Wimbledon with little to no expectation, but surprisingly, this is his best start to a slam in 2024. He's only conceded one set in the first two rounds. Rune beat Kwon in straight sets and then had Sebo Dwalf beating him 3-1. And that is extra impressive because last year was actually the first year of Rune on grass, which last year he did very well as well. He had 8 out of 10 matches won, and he actually reached the quarterfinals of Wimbledon, which is really impressive if you're first season on grass. Rune is against Hayleys this match, with world number 220. And Rune has actually not lost against players out of the top 200 since March 2022. So it's been more than 2 years since he lost out against someone in the top 200. Well, not in the top 200. Hayleys, as I was talking about, he does have a really good serve. which gives him like a little bit of an edge on grass against many players. With this, he won his 3 qualifying matches, and he went on to win against Eubanks and Kashanov. Eubanks he actually beat in 3 sets, but Kashanov was a little bit harder. He had to fight a grueling 5-setter, but I mean he won. He won. Although he is like really much talent on grass, due to his fitness problems last month, nobody actually expected him to get this far. Hayes was actually in the 3rd round of Wimbledon last year as well. He was in a little bit of a better form then. He actually played Sinner in the 3rd round that time, and actually took 1 set of Sinner, making it real hard for Sinner, who ended up in the semifinals, I think, last year. I think this actually can be a tough challenge for Rune, but as long as he plays at his best, I think Hayes won't get close to him, and Rune will get the W. Then the last match is Popyrin against Djokovic. Djokovic, of course, looked great after his first match, in his first match after surgery, by beating Kopriva easily in 3 sets. In the 2nd round, it looks a little bit harder though. He was up against wildcard Fernley, who won the 3rd set actually out of Djokovic, and actually had 6 break points in one of the other sets. I don't know which one out of my head, but he actually had 6 break points, and then maybe he could have made it a 5-setter, and then you never know. But Djokovic came through with his experience and won the match. Popyrin avoided extending his losing streak at Wimbledon to 4. He was on a 3 losing streak at Wimbledon, but in the 1st round he beat Montero in 4 sets, which was really good for him. And in the 2nd match, he beat Echeverry in a 5-set match, making the 3rd round, which is I think his best ever at Wimbledon. Popyrin has actually never reached the 2nd week of a slam and is now one win away. But just to know this, he has actually lost 5 times already in the 3rd round of a slam. Djokovic also leads the head-to-head with 2-0. I think with that, Djokovic is actually gonna get this W, and yeah, is gonna advance. So yeah, that was that. So I'm gonna leave it here. So I wanna thank you all for watching. Please have a great day, and I will see you.